You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Bungalow Sports Show. We're back remote again. We're still infected over here. Well, technically today we are no longer infected, but it was already too late to have Joey come out and do this show. And it's fine. It's fine. The games just got over.
Yep.
We can talk about it. We can talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. But before we get into that, this show is brought to you, as always, by Betalytics.com. Go to Betalytics.com and use promo code PEAK1 to get 25% off all of their goodies over there and make smarter bets. Don't bet with your gut. Why bet with your gut?
Don't do it. Why do that?
Don't do it. I yet again this weekend also have examples of why you shouldn't bet with your gut. But you don't have to, because you can go to Betalytics.com and use promo code PEAK1 and get 25% off, and they'll help you make smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by ShankItGolf.com. Go to ShankItGolf.com and use promo code PEAK1 and get 15% off your order and look like a cool-ass dude while you're shooting pars and birdies and bogeys.
I love me some Shank It Golf, dude.
It's cool.
I wear their hats all the time. They're comfortable. They're stylish. It's just,
well, we say it all the time. Don't look like a fucking nerd when you're playing golf. All right, look cool, right. And they fit kind of our what we do here. You know what I mean? We don't take ourselves too seriously. We like to have fun, and so does Shank It Golf. So go to ShankItGolf.com if you want some cool golf wear. And use promo code PEAK1 for 15% off. You can also go to bonfire.com/store/PEAK1sports to get all of our merch. Joey has fresh merch sitting in his chair right across from me over here.
Just waiting for me to pick it up, dude.
It is our PWHL bootleg merch, Minnesota's. We got them in. At the time you're listening to this, they'll probably be in the store, so you can go pick one of those up if you would like. If you want to see what it looks like on me, why don't you tune in to this week's Bungalow Hockey Show? Because, yes, the Bungalow Hockey Show is coming back.
Nice.
We will be recording tomorrow morning, bright and early, Tuesday. Tune into the Bungalow Hockey Show. So much to talk about since the last time Daniel and I got together. So much going on in the world of hockey. A lot of scandals. We'll talk about some scandals today. But because we're coming back, the hockey show's coming back, and Daniel is my co-host. Daniel owns Epic Hockey. It is a hockey equipment brand. And as you can see, we don't have graphics today, but down in the lower third, we have an EpicHockey.com logo. So go check it out if you're a hockey player and you want some cool gear from a cool dude, and you don't want to give your money to those big, giant conglomerates that just eat up the little guy. And you
want the man, dude.
Yeah, mom and pop style hockey gear. Go to epichockey.com. All right, dude. We just finished championship weekend in the NFL. I'm sure they're still doing post-game interviews right now. The Niners Lions game just ended in just a fantastic choke by the Detroit Lions. That one's fresh in our minds, but let's talk about the earlier game, which was the Ravens and the Chiefs, which I can't even really call a choke by the Ravens. It was just the Chiefs being the Chiefs, you know what I mean? And it was a 17-10 game, which is crazy, which is, hey, remember last week when I said I was going to go for the overs? I didn't.
Yeah.
So I was happy about that this morning, right? Because your boy here decided to go with his gut, and I went with an underdog parlay and went with Kansas City and Detroit. And so I was feeling real good going into halftime of this evening game, and real good about my deciding not to go with the overs, because that Kansas City and Baltimore game was a defensive battle. Like I said, 17-10, Kansas City. Travis Kelce balled out. He had over 100 yards in the first half with a touchdown. I believe he won MVP of the game or player of the game or whatever the fuck they call that. He went out there and showed why he's the best tight end in football, possibly the best ever. I know there's a few other names in the tight end category that people could argue, but I think just longevity-wise, championship-wise, showing up in big game-wise, Travis Kelce is kind of untouched. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Gronk obviously would be the one that people want to put out there probably most, because he was on the team with Tom Brady. But so he's on. I mean, Kelsey's on the team with Patrick Mahomes, so that's neither here nor there. But Gronk's career was more filled with injuries. He was a more dominant force, I guess you could say. But as far as like records wise, Kelsey's up there. He's got 3 Super Bowls, 3, right? Yeah, and just receiving yards wise, touchdowns wise, regular season, postseason, he just keeps showing up. He's probably gonna marry Taylor Swift.
The dude's winning. He's winning. Even if he loses the bowl, he's winning.
And I just love that my TikTok feed is now, it's like full of just Swifties just being like, don't ever bet against Taylor. I love it because I hate the narrative that like there was literally like you can also go on and see a lot of clips of Baltimore fans screaming at her as she's leaving the stadium. You're ruining football. And it's just like, how is she ruining football by dating a guy and supporting him?
Dude, it's so sad because it's like, did they even they never even had a chance. You know what I mean? So I love the fact that I love the fact that it's still going on, because there was any chance in between then and now to where they could have walked away and it would have proved everybody right. And the fact that they're still together,
or just she stopped showing up. Yeah, she stopped showing up because of people in the negative. Fuck that. Because my thing is last week was a perfect example. We talked about like Jason Kelce. Obviously, the Eagles were eliminated, so he went to Buffalo to support his brother. And he's up there drunk as shit, shirt off, jumping into the crowd and stuff. And everybody loves that. But put one camera angle on Taylor kind of behind the crowd, and her face is just there, and she's the one who's doing too much. You know what I mean? It's like, well, she's not doing shit. There's also another 20 people in that box up there that are there supporting their loved ones. So it's like
100%.
She doesn't control the camera angles. Like the NFL obviously is taking advantage of the fact that the most famous person on the planet is at an NFL game. Obviously, why wouldn't they take advantage of that? But it's not her fault.
It kind of brings me back to Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. It's like from the moment they got together, there was just so much buzz around it where it's like they were never going to last. You know what I mean? So the fact that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are still together is just a testament to
and I think I think even making that comparison, it's like the Kardashians go out of their way to make spectacles of their relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think, and that's why they're so rich. That's part of their brand. Taylor Swift isn't a reality show type. Taylor Swift is just the most famous person on the planet because people love her fucking music. You know what I mean? So it's like, she is famous because of a byproduct of what she does. She's not famous for being famous, which you could arguably say the Kardashians are or whatever. They didn't go out of their way to make a spectacle out of it. They literally were trying to keep it under wraps for a while, and they weren't leaving the stadium together, and they weren't being seen together, and they weren't I think today was their first on-camera kiss, peck on the cheek when she after the game when he gave her a kiss or whatever. But it's like, but the same could be said for everybody hated Patrick Mahomes' wife until we had somebody else to hate, I guess, right? So it's like,
but it's funny how people will make fun of Taylor Swift fans, right? Of how crazy they get in the audience and stuff. It's like, at least they're in the audience. Sports fans will raid their fucking city,
and at least they're positive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fucking Raiders fans and Lakers fans will burn their city down when they win.
Yeah, dude, leave them alone.
Yeah,
man.
go look at what happened in Vancouver when they got to the Cup and lost. You know what I mean?
Or Philly,
Or
dude.
just the fact that people are hating on her because she's showing up to her boyfriend's football games. Like, you're ruining football. I literally heard multiple people say that on TikToks today. Like, screaming it at her, and it's like, how is she ruining football? Like, that is so crazy.
Right? No,
but anyway,
it's so dumb.
If there's any other reason, I mean, the Chiefs don't need anybody to root for them. They're fucking the best. They're the best. They break everyone's hearts every time somebody else thinks they have a chance. But hey, if I need a reason to root for them, I'm just rooting just for the irony of Taylor Swift winning the Super Bowl as well as life.
Right.
She's won everything else, so she can win a Super Bowl too. That game happened earlier today, and your boy was happy with the victory. He was happy that he didn't take the overs, and then came the late game. And the Detroit Lions were absolutely steamrolling the Niners for 30 minutes of football. 17-point lead going into the half.
Yeah. Crazy.
And came out, and it still didn't even have like a terrible second half, but just didn't do, they let the Niners come back. And then my thing.
Well, there was a little Goff kind of cracked a little bit, man. He was making some hasty.
He was, but if you look at a lot of those throws were drops, dude. They hit people in the fucking hands, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say like they just didn't have hands.
They
you know what I mean? It was like bouncing off their face, bouncing off their chest.
I kept wanting to blame Goff, but then when you go and look at the replay in slow mo, you're like, well, actually, even though that was a rushed throw or whatever, it was low, it was high. It was like he was still hitting these guys in the hands, and they were dropping.
It was just such a stark comparison because in the beginning, in the first half, it
automatic.
Was like, I mean, it was almost like you tied a string to him, dude. Because that ball, from him to St. Brown, it was just fucking like a laser, dude.
Right, and then
like,
to be honest.
Passes.
The thing we all love Dan Campbell for, and I was a special guest on the Leadoff morning show this weekend. Go check that out on Peak One Sports Network. We talked a lot about why we love Dan Campbell and his gambling of going for it on fourth downs and 2-point conversions and all that stuff. Kind of bit him in the ass because they got stopped on 2 fourth downs, and then he had a choice to kick a field goal and tie the fucking game or go for it on fourth down at the end of the game, and they went for it and they got stopped, and then the Niners scored a touchdown, so it was a 10-point lead instead of a 7-point lead. Right. The Lions came down and scored. The game would have been tied, and they wouldn't have had to do an onside kick. It could have been we can kick it and take it to overtime. We can you had options, but they didn't kick that field goal, got stopped, went down, scored a touchdown, and then needed an onside kick, which never fucking happens. So that's how the game ended, was George Kittle recovery of an onside kick, and the Niners taking it home, and your boy lost his parlay bet. But it's okay.
George Kittle threw that booty up in the air, dude, after he recovered that ball, dude.
He did.
Face down, ass up.
And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it, like mostly because I have futures bets on both Kansas City and the Niners to win the Super Bowl, so I'm winning no matter what.
Futures bets on everybody, didn't
I'm winning no matter what on Super Bowl Sunday, bud. So
last week you said it was Ravens and the Niners. Now you're saying this week it's Kansas City and the Niners. You got them on everybody, don't you?
You got to spread it around sometimes.
Hedge those bets, baby.
You know what I mean? But
you can't lose if you bet on everybody.
Yeah. Sometimes you hedge so much that even when you win, I'm only going to come out like $10 up. But fuck it, dude. I'm winning something this football season.
Win, dude.
I'm winning something this football season. Anyways, Super Bowl Sunday rematch, Niners Chiefs. The Niners haven't looked like the absolute buzzsaw that they did all season, but they keep winning games. Brandon Ayuk is an absolute beast of a wide receiver. He made that crazy bounced off the helmet fucking catch. That was crazy. But again, they're going up against Patrick Mahomes, so it is anybody's game.
No, I didn't watch the Baltimore Kansas City game, but I mean, from what I did hear, it was like you said, it was kind of like a defensive struggle. Actually, I said that last week, that if you gave Patrick Mahomes that time, you can't give them that time because look what happens. You
right.
know what I mean?
And it was it was honestly like, you know, just the playoffs have been a complete redemption for people saying that the Chiefs have fallen off and the receivers, they drop balls all season, and he hooked up with a bomb to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who pulled in a great catch and caught the ball and sealed the game and da-da-da. So the Chiefs are the Chiefs. It's going to be it's going to be a good game. I know that much. I don't see how it can't be a good game. Like it's going to be a good game. So
and Brock Purdy looked really good this game too, dude. Running game.
And you know what? Lamar lost and did not look good in this loss. And guess who's got an MVP bet on Brock Purdy? So let's go, MVP voters. I mean, I got one. I have one on Lamar too, but
remember, we hedge here at the Bungalow.
Well, when it comes to MVP, I said this weeks and weeks ago. Come the middle of the season, 3/4 of the way through the season, I always pick about 4 people to put MVP bets on, and mine were Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, and Lamar Jackson. And you might laugh at the Tyreek Hill one, but this was when he was getting 200 yards every game, and all the talk was, oh, they can't give it to a quarterback this season. The quarterback play is so subpar. So it was like, holy shit, they might actually give it to a running back or a wide receiver. So like the Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill bets were, holy shit, if they actually give it to a non-quarterback bets. And then the Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy bets were one of these. Who would
you choose if it wasn't a quarterback? I was kind of thinking McCaffrey.
Oh yeah, if at this point
he killed it.
He's the best offensive player in football that wasn't a quarterback. That wasn't Lamar Jackson. And like Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy had over 50 yards rushing in this game, which is insane. Like, so goddamn, dude, like he might win it, and I might win some money on that too. But and this also proves something else we talked about. We talked about it maybe we talked about it last week, maybe we didn't, but we talked about on the leadoff this last weekend about the whole Super Bowl, the script, because of the color scheme of the logo. Had you seen those? It was purple and red, and it was like, because every year for the last 3 years, like 2 years ago, it was yellow and orange. And they make the logos halfway through the season. And who was in the Super Bowl? The Rams yellow and the Bengals orange. Yeah. Last year it was green and red. Who was in the Super Bowl? The Eagles green and the Kansas City Chiefs red, right? And then this year it came out and it was purple and red. Who was probably going to the Super Bowl? The Ravens and the Niners. Right? So we broke the script, baby. So all you TikTokers who've been wasting your time talking about the script for the last 6 months can eat a bag of dicks, because the Niners and the Chiefs, well, not the Niners obviously because they were part of the script, but the Chiefs just blew that up for you. But it is still scripted because they want Taylor Swift to be at the Super Bowl, bro. It's part of the script. They changed the script because they started dating. It would have been
better if Travis Kelce was playing and she was doing the halftime. Like that would have been even better.
That was talk for a while. Like
that would have fulfilled the script right there.
Right, when they first
Usher to the curb.
Yeah, but we got Usher doing the halftime. We got Reba doing the anthem.
Let's go, dude! I didn't know about Reba.
Yeah, she's doing, and then Post Malone doing "America the Beautiful." It's so funny because on
America the Beautiful
on the leadoff, we talked about that, and Tony's son Landon is one of the co-hosts. Producer guy on the leadoff, and he's a young man in his late teens, and he was just like, Landon, he was like, do you care about any of these how do these perform? He's like, no, like, because and we started thinking about it. It's like, if you think about the performers at the Super Bowl halftime show, like, it ain't a kid thing anymore. Like, it's like my generation. I mean, you're younger than me, but even partly you, it's like, the new artists don't want to be on the halftime show. They don't get paid for it. You arguably have to pay to be on the halftime show if you want a good set and everything. You're paying for it. So it's like in the days of Spotify and TikTok, like, you ain't paying me, I ain't doing that. So it's like, guys, it's the ushers, it's the people from my generation that it's been a bucket list to perform at halftime are the ones that want to do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's forever going to be an old person thing from now on. I'd imagine. But Tony dropped the knowledge that Peak One is we're going to be doing like a Peak One pregame show.
Oh, wow.
They're just going to have a live stream going, and we can all drop in and drop out and be on the pregame. So that is me extending a secondary invitation to you, Joey, because I found about it on the air.
Yeah,
but
as am I. I'm finding out about it on the air too.
But I decided that me and you can be the prop guys. We'll jump in, and because that's my big thing on the Super Bowl. I love betting on the coin toss. I like betting on like the length of the national anthem. You know, like I'll go and do my homework. Reba's had to have sang the national anthem a few times in her career. I'm gonna go and see how long she holds out that high note. You know, is it 2 minutes and 45 seconds, or is it 2 minutes and 22 seconds? Like what's her average length? So we need to find. I'm gonna find all the good props
too, dude. Can she still do it? You know.
Oh, you know she is, dude. I hope she just cuts
Single mom who works too hard.
I hope she record scratches it into fancy, dude. Like she's just like, and the home of the come on, fancy, don't let me down. Like, yeah, dude. I don't know, but Reba should be the damn halftime show. But anyways.
I'm excited for Usher, dude. I've liked Usher, man. You know, those were my like my 8th grade school dances. You know what I mean?
100% right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Baby. That's a guy who deserves. That's a legacy guy because you and I are 10 years apart in age, more than that. Right. You know what I mean? And we both listened to Usher at our school dances.
What I'm talking about, dude.
That's longevity in a career right there. You know what I mean? That's a 30-year musical career. Yeah. But then I go even, and I was an adult when that came out, but then I was listening to Usher songs at my 8th grade dance. So tune into the Peak One Sports pregame for the Super Bowl. We'll be there. All right, that's enough football. What was your bet? What were your bets that you lost today?
I actually didn't do any bets, dude.
Okay, good.
We did like some bets like at work, you know what I mean? We did like a couple of picks, but you know, after last week's loss, I decided to take a brief hiatus, you know.
Good job. We'll just lose it all. We'll lose it all on the coin toss in 2 weeks.
As much as I wanted the Ravens to win, I actually took the Chiefs, and then I wanted the Lions to win, and I took the Lions on this one. So
right,
I was in the same boat as you this weekend.
So all right, let's move on. One thing, I won't talk too much about hockey today because we do have obviously the hockey show coming out tomorrow. Yeah. So I'll give me and Daniel a chance to catch up on all the shit going on in the NHL. But to talk about bring it to the PWHL for a second, I want to tell you how astute we were. All right, because I wore my Minnesota shirt to my hockey game, the Loosey Goosey game this last week.
Did you?
To unveil it to everyone so everyone can see it. And not only did blindly we picked the Minnesotas with our hearts, not for any other reason. Dude, Brooke Bryant, roster member of the Minnesotas, forward for the Minnesotas, Brooke Bryant, was a Stockton Colt.
No way.
Motherfucker, we didn't even know it, and we would have we picked the right team for all, not just because, you know, Boston doesn't need any more fans, New York doesn't need any more fans, Canadian hockey doesn't need any more fans. We're going Minnesota, but also a hometown girl is on the roster of this damn team. You can follow her, Brooke Bryant, on IG. She's from Linden, California. She was a goddamn Stockton Colt, dude. Played her pee-wee hockey in Stockton, California, at the same rink where the Geese lay our heads.
I knew there was a reason, dude. I knew there was a reason.
There's a pull. So
that's beautiful.
I just want to say that.
I wonder if we can get her on the show, dude. That'd be cool.
You know what? I'll reach out. Also too, I know I haven't been doing loosey goosey updates. I got to get back into that. I haven't really been paying attention to the loosey goosey IG page and posting updates on there. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we've had the most disappointing beginning to a season in franchise history. Maybe that's why.
You don't say. You don't say.
We did win our first game last week, first game of the season. We're 1-2 right now. We got a bye week this week, so we got time to kind of get our shit together. But you can go to HersperHockeyLeague.com or HersperHockey.com and you can see the standings and the stats and everything is now up for our league. And your boy Cole Ramdo, they misspelt my name. I am second in points right now in the league, and but apparently I'm not. Apparently Cole Ramdo is. 4 points in 3 games.
What a way to kill that sick ass last name, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? Usually you'd put Rambo and then think it was a typo. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Like, wait, this dude's name's Rambo?
We'll do Dirt League hockey updates coming up next week. I'll do a full rundown. Yeah. Daniel,
looking forward to it, dude.
My co-host Daniel's Tigers are in first place. They've come out of the gates 3-0. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about, there is a big scandal going on in the hockey world right now. A sexual assault scandal.
With the Canadian Youth Hockey League.
I won't get too much into it because I'm sure Daniel and I'll get into it tomorrow, but I just want to say one more tick in the win column for USA Juniors hockey. Okay, motherfuckers out there. You guys aren't the best just because you won a gold medal, just because all your NCAA teams will kick the shit out of our juniors teams, but we also aren't rapers over here.
Yeah.
Okay? 2018 Canadian Juniors hockey team apparently are some sexual assaulters. And I think 4 NHLers, Carter Hart being one of them, goalie for the Philadelphia Flyers, Dylan Dubé from the Calgary Flames, and then Cal Foote from the Devils. Just pretty crazy, man. But the real salacious sexual assault case I want to get into is the case against Vince McMahon and the WWE. Holy mother
so much
of
to say
God.
about this, dude.
My God. We already knew Vince McMahon was an old creep, right? We already knew this, right? But the details, a woman has come out and finally filed lawsuits and has taken this thing all the way and broken her NDA that she was basically forced into signing by Vince McMahon, and just has basically...
Dude, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy to think that this wasn't even like during like Raw's War, or we're like, dude, they're doing the explicit. This was 2019.
This is nuts, dude. And
it's multiple women. Like, she's the only one coming. Like, she's the one who started it. But
just the details.
$14.6 million.
Just the details of him shitting on her head. Have you heard these details? Fucking,
I haven't heard that one
being in Vince McMahon and who's the other guy, the manager guy?
John Laurinaitis.
John Laurinaitis in a threesome with this woman, and Vince McMahon shitting on her head and then forcing her to continue to pleasure Laurinaitis while Vince McMahon goes and takes a shower, cleans himself up, and then goes out and continues the threesome with his girl having his diarrhea dripping down her fucking head. Like, it's intense and disgusting and horrifying. Him literally putting her into like contract type deals with, we allegedly a former UFC and WWE heavyweight champion to get him to come back. Oh yeah, because there's been tons of WWE UFC champions. To get him to come back to the WWE and having her as part, basically using her as it is insane.
He was talking about pissing on her, dude. It's so bad. Now, I was thinking about this, right? And like, he's a fat pig, and I'm happy he's on the spit, right? He's getting roasted, and I'm happy about it, okay?
Fuck, dude.
But it's like, he agreed to pay her $3 million to keep her mouth shut about this, right? And it's like, why the fuck wouldn't you be watching that? Like, he has so much more to lose.
Well, and the other thing is too is like, he had her sign the NDA because apparently it's when Linda McMahon found out about his relationship with her. He terminated her from the company and forced her to sign this NDA, and then was apparently like financially going to support her, and then eventually stopped paying her too.
Well, so he agreed to pay her $3 million, right? And he paid her $3 million, but it's a total of $14.6 million between multiple women that he's doing this for, right?
Right.
And payments stopped coming in after the first $1 million. That's why she decided to file charges against him. It's like, dude, what? Like, what were like?
Because he's a fucking scumbag who thinks he's above the law. Like, that's all it is. Like, it doesn't.
Horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, dude. It is so. Like I said, like the fact that Vince McMahon is a sexual predator is not crazy. He's this fucking psycho steroid-ridden billionaire, right? Of course he's a sexual predator, right? You know what I mean? Like, just look at the storylines that he was writing and approving in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like, yes. Like, and how ironic that, like, one of the most famous Vince McMahon memes is the rapist. Like, that thing. Like, and it's just like, he's a rapist, dude. And then, and he's not doing himself any favors at this old age, growing that weird John Waters mustache either. Like that, that doesn't help.
No, but dude, it's disgusting. Like, I was expecting when I was first reading this, I was expecting like it to be through the 90s or before or what just during that time, where they're doing that kind of stuff, and to find out that it was just 5 years,
right?
You know what I mean? Just 5 years ago, dude. It's just, I mean,
he was like, after COVID, like, nobody will remember that stuff.
Yeah, dude. What a piece of shit.
Crazy though, man. Like, and the details that are coming out are just like I said. Like,
have
obviously,
you seen those text messages?
Oh, dude, it's bananas.
Yeah. He types like a fucking teenager.
Oh,
like a fucking horny. Like, you could. It's like a horny teenager that's writing. It's so gross. It's so gross.
If you're interested, you can find all of this stuff we're talking about online in the written form. The thing about these that's always disheartening in my eyes, I guess I would say, is like, because obviously at this point, like, it's a civil suit, right? Like, how can we get he's got to get criminal charges, right? I mean, I know there's an NDA, I know that there's like statute of limitations, but didn't they change, like with sexual assault, they changed that with Cosby, right? Where like,
well, it's got to be different because it's more than just sexual assault. It's sex trafficking.
No, there's all kinds, but I'm just saying, like, historically, when these things have come out, even in like Cosby's case, like decades and decades later, like people's only like way to get any repercussions or civil suit, which money is nothing to Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't hurt the guy with money. So it's like, I hope criminal charges are filed.
It's good. There has to be. There has to be.
If they're filing criminal charges against Carter Hart and these NHLers, which I'm sure what they did, or accused of doing is like insane and disgusting and deserves punishment.
Yeah.
The depravity of this Vince McMahon shit takes it to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Because, like, it doesn't get much worse than sexual assault, right? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's murder and rape are the two worst ones. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason for it.
Well, I mean, it gets worse with this guy, dude. To sit there and tell this young lady, hey, I showed your pictures to these 12 guys, and they want to fuck you so bad. It's like, that is disgusting, bro. It is disgusting behavior.
Right.
And like, he's a fat hog that is being roasted on that spit, and
he shit on her head, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we like? We are in the fucking upside down right now, dude. Like, this kind of shit. Like, God, I hope he goes to prison. Like,
oh yeah.
I hope. Oh God, I hope they all go to prison. I hope that if the yet to be named ex WWE / UFC champ, if he did take part in this or accepted whatever this was that was offered to him, I hope he fucking goes to prison. I hope they do name him
Dude, justice for Sable, bro. She didn't deserve that, dude.
Dude, and that's the other thing too. It's like guy.
Yeah.
We don't know who it is yet, Joey. They haven't named him yet, but there is an ex-UFC WWE champ that is married to Sable. And God, a 13-year-old Cole's dream, being married to Sable. And then you're taking part in this kind of shit. That just shows you the depths of money and power and how like humans are fucked, dude.
Is it that after a certain amount of money you become a disgusting pig like that? Or
it's so crazy to me. I think about that all the time, right? Because there's so many people that have crazy amounts of money that end up being found out to be complete creep psychos. Right. There's a lot of rich people out there who we don't know and we never hear from, and I'm sure that it's not like 60-40. I don't know. But it's like, I would like to think that if somebody gave me $1 billion tomorrow, I wouldn't turn into a fucking sex trafficker.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I wouldn't accept an invite to go on Epstein's Island. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Because that's the thing.
What if they finally release the list, the Epstein list, and Vince McMahon's on there like multiple times?
I wouldn't be surprised. It's just like,
I wouldn't be surprised either. But it's just like, this type of behavior is just like, we've come so far as a society. It's like, why are we still doing this shit? You know
I mean, it's got to just be this, like, I'm so powerful, I can do whatever I want. But then the thing is, like, why do you want to do that? That's my thing. Right. It's just like, yeah, I get the lust for power, and I'm so powerful I can get away with whatever I want. But it's like, no, but then there's the next step of, why do you want to do that? It's not I have the power to get away.
I can't imagine shitting while having sex.
I know that.
Even more so, shitting on somebody's head, and continuing to have sex. And then the other person that's involved seeing, smelling, and then having to continue having sex with a woman that just got shit on.
Like, you read stories like this, and maybe I was just never destined to be a big, powerful man. But it's like I've been known to be a nervous wreck just at the thought of being able to have sex with my wife. Forcing someone to have sex with me against their will.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a boner. You know what I mean? Like, but again, maybe is that a prerequisite to being a billionaire? I don't know.
Yeah, you have to be able to do the hard stuff, Cole, like shitting on a woman's head. You know what I mean? Like, that's so gross. Dude.
Like, just the prospect of somebody having, like, that's why, like, no one's ever got to worry about me going to a prostitute, right? Because I automatically have a thing in my head. It's like, well, a prostitute doesn't want to have sex with these people. They're doing it because they're just the same reason. I don't want to go put windows in your house tomorrow, but I'm doing it because it's my job, right? Prostitute doesn't necessarily want. I couldn't go to a prostitute because I can't have sex with somebody who doesn't want to have sex with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like for me, it's a prerequisite for the other person to want to do it. And I feel like, is there a certain dollar amount that you get to a point where you have to have sex with someone that doesn't want to do it, and that's the only way you can do it? Like, like, insane, dude. Like, it just puts a stain on my entire childhood love for the WWF, right? Because then you start looking back at some of those storylines. You start looking back at the character of Val Venus. You remember that guy? Remember Val Venus and him and Stephanie McMahon's relationship, and he was like the porn star wrestler. You start looking back at the Sables, and the like Sable showing her tits on pay-per-view was like the biggest thing ever, and it's the puppies. And it's just like, oh my God. And like, I don't blame myself as a teenager for wanting to see somebody's tits, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, thinking
how every WWE diva at the time, right? Every WWE diva had like a Playboy shoot as well. Right. You know what I mean? It's like
it all, you start to look back on it with these new goggles that we have, and you're like, oh, they were all being exploited. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, it's just pretty crazy. It's like I said, the fact that Vince McMahon is a creep and had some NDAs out there and was paying some people up is not crazy to think that was happening. But just the details of this case as they're coming out are just every time I read something new detail-wise about it, I'm like, oh, fuck. Fuck. Like, this is bananas.
Like you said, it's not crazy to think of, but it's like, I don't know. It's like you look up. I mean, I'm not going to say I wouldn't list Vince McMahon as like one of the top people that I looked up to in my life.
Right, but
you know, I mean, there was that. You look at some of the other stuff that he was a part of too. You know, it's like the Make-A-Wish and all this other good stuff that he's brought in with the WWE. And it's kind of like there was a good part of him too that you kind of hope that some of this shit wasn't true.
But then now you look back and you realize that was all just a smokescreen to be like, if I do all this stuff as well, people won't think I'm a creep. You know what I mean? Like, we'll dedicate.
It balances out my karma.
Yeah, we'll dedicate an entire Monday Night Raw to Jerry the King Lawler wanting to see Sable's tits.
Yeah.
Like, but then we'll give some money to some leukemia kids, and then nobody will think anything
any
else.
less.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I haven't been a wrestling fan for many years now, so it's like, but like they just sold to Netflix or whatever, like the rights.
And WWE and the UFC are now together in TKO Holdings.
Yeah,
and then they just sold rights for in 2025. Netflix is going to start airing Monday Night Raw.
Right, and like you look at it and it's like, Triple H is married to his daughter, right?
Yeah.
Triple H has been under that guy's wing for how many decades now? It's like that guy. Maybe Triple H isn't named in anything, but it's just like everybody at the top of that company is suspect now. Even if they
have known.
That's what I'm saying. Even if without taking part in it, but being complicit and covering it up, or not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In those text messages where he's saying, "I showed your pictures to 12 different production guys, and they all want to do this with you." It's like. Somebody knew. They had to have known. And there's no way. And it's like, how can you do this to these people? You're literally working with your daughter every day. You know
just
what I mean?
The guys the other people that knew about it, anything like that. Like, I'm a fucking narc, dude. Like, I ain't gonna tell on you for stealing some gum from the 7-Eleven. But if I know that there's some kind of fucking sexual assault, sexual fucking trafficking, any kind of abuse whatsoever, I'm a fucking narc, baby. Like,
yeah, dude.
Okay, I guess I won't. I guess I won't work for the WWF anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the grand scheme of karma in the world, whether you believe in it or not, like, how can you live with yourself if you were a person that worked for that company that knew this was happening, or at least something was going on in that direction in the sexual abuse department, whether you knew what girl it was, whatever it was, and you didn't come out and fucking say something? Like, how can you fucking live with yourself? Like, you know what I mean?
Think of the and to add to that, think of the culture that we live in now in the workplace. I mean, every year we're required to do some type of sexual harassment training just in the state of California.
Right.
So it's like, you can only imagine. I mean, and their total corporate structure now, even more so than they've ever been in the past.
Right, and like you said, this was all 2019. We're not even talking about 20 years ago, and all this. The change of guard when it comes to that stuff we're a decade into everybody having to be on the books when it comes to like knowing, see something, say something type shit and all that stuff. Like I said, like if you're somebody that worked for the WWE and you had any type of sniffed anything, I mean, even you didn't have to sniff the diarrhea running down her back, and you didn't fucking get on Twitter at least, you know what I mean? I want to see the records, dude. I want to see at least a tweet saying, hey, blah, blah, something. Because what the fuck are you doing? Quit at least. Like, because it's just.
Right.
I get it. People go to have jobs and all this stuff, but it ain't worth it, man. Like, I don't care.
There's a line. There's a fine line between that, and that's, dude.
Like,
no way.
I don't. Yeah, I'll never get it. I mean, I guess it's easy to pass judgment when you've never been involved in even peripherally with a situation like that. So it's like, we'll see, because I expect. If this keeps going and going and building, I do expect some employees of the WWE, that high-level employees, just people that worked in the fucking cubicles in there, that had to have known something was going on. I want people to be held accountable for, hey, why? What did you hear?
I was just
what did you see? What did you hear? Like, I'm not saying they need to be arrested, but it's like, let's hear. Why didn't you say something? Like what? Like what? Do you think in the world of Twitter and social media, even if you're some low-level WWE employee, you think that the internet wouldn't take that and run? If somebody that was even a fucking janitor at the WWF offices were just like, dude, I just cleaned up a silhouette, a woman's silhouette of diarrhea out of Vince McMahon's office. You don't think the internet would have taken that and ran with it? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't care.
You know what? The fact that you bring that up is kind of crazy, how there hasn't even been like a rumor about it. You know what I mean? It doesn't surprise us that he did it, but the fact there's been no rumor that he does shit like this.
I just feel like nobody could make me that scared. Like how Vince McMahon obviously had everybody that worked for this company so scared to, like, this whole, you know, old school, you'll never work in this town again type fucking, it's like, fuck
but
you,
dude.
Like,
at that point, what could he do to you that you couldn't successfully
in the age
destroy
of
him?
exactly,
You know what I mean?
in the age of the internet, in the age of cancellation, like, you would be hailed as a fucking hero. Like, if you came out and blew the lid off this in 2019 or 2020.
Me too. I mean, that started before 2019.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So this is obviously, I'm sure he's been doing this shit to women since he bought the WWF. But it's like, like you said, post Me Too, post cancellation, all this stuff. This happened.
And these are women that are behind the scenes. This isn't even talking about the Tori Wilsons, the Sables, the Trish Stratuses, the Litas, all these women that have made a name for themselves in lights and stuff. And it's like, what happened with them? You know,
and I'm not sitting here saying that the women that he abused, like, it's their fault for not coming out. That is trauma.
Oh, no,
that's so trauma based. I can understand that. There's a reason people always say, like, when women come out years later, or like the Cosby accusers and all, oh, why did they say something when it happened? It's like, because it's called fucking trauma. It's called PTSD. It's called fear. It's called all. You weren't the one that was raped. That's why you should have said something, motherfucker, because you're not the one who's traumatized. So if you knew it was happening, that's why.
It's like old Ronnie that's sitting in the cubicle that knows about this.
Right,
like if he walked up to this young lady and said, "Hey, are you okay?"
Right.
Let's go talk to somebody about this.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. That's why I'm holding it all has to be held to a different standard. The people who weren't being abused but had wind of some of this, you were the ones who were held to the standard of saying something, not the victims. You know what I'm saying? We know enough at this point about post-traumatic stress, about what it is to be victimized and why people, you know, and obviously Vince McMahon in a position of power and all this stuff and blah, 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 NDAs. If you say anything, you're going to deal with my lawyers and da-da-da, and I'll sue you into the ground and you'll be broken. That's all fear tactics. But it's like when you just work at a company and you know something's like that's going down, fuck you, dude. You can go get a cubicle job somewhere else.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is like, so he paid her $3 million, right? He paid her he was going to pay her $3 million to keep quiet, right? So, like, you can understand why maybe she would be quiet during this time because she's getting something out of it, right? And it's like, that's why I'm trying to get into his mind of just, like, why wouldn't you oversee that payment?
Well, because I think...
You know what I mean?
Well, what I think is...
He has so much more to lose.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean? But I think that she, even with the $3 million, that wouldn't be enough for me to keep my mouth shut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the thing is with the NDAs and with obviously the guy's gotten away with so much over his lifetime because of his lawyers, and like whether you want to talk about Trump and his lawyers or whatever rich guy and their lawyers and getting away with everything, that's a fear. Like, okay, I'm getting this $3 million, but also I signed this piece of paper, and if I, not only will I not get the $3 million if I say something, but I will get sued. I will lose all my money. I will lose my entire existence because I signed this piece of paper, and then everybody's going to turn on me and say, well, if it actually happened, why did you sign it? And da-da-da. You know what I mean? All this other stuff.
I can definitely get behind that,
It's crazy, man. I'm going to say right now, The Rock will be the head of the WWE in very short time, because I don't think so. Whether it's Triple H or anybody that was associated with this regime that's being accused of all this stuff, I don't see them being able to be in charge of it for very long.
Right.
And The Rock's already, like, he went back. He got his rights to his name. Like, he's already back kind of in the fold with the parent company now. And
wait, but he was just as big back then. You don't think he had something to do with that?
But he's
dude?
been away from it. I'm not saying that whatever I think is moot. I'm just saying that, like, he hasn't been in the fold for, however many decades now or whatever, and he's a completely different entity to the whole thing, and he's Mr. Clean Cut, Captain America right now as far as the public sees it. But there definitely is going to have to be some kind of a change of the guard, I think, for that. I don't know. Wrestling fans are crazy, so I figure they're going to watch it no matter what, but I definitely...
I'm not going to lie to you. I watched the Royal Rumble this weekend.
As you should. All right, dude. Jesus Christ. All right, that's enough bummer fucking wrestling talk. That was our wrestling segment. Our first ever wrestling segment on this show.
We don't talk about it too much, but when we do...
Hard hitting. All right. All right, buddy. You will definitely be back in here next weekend. Everybody is feeling better at this point on Sunday night. So
glad to hear it, man. I'm glad you guys are doing well.
Thank you for joining me via Google Meet. And
thank you for having me, dude. This is fun.
You're the man, Joey. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed their sports this weekend. I hope you didn't shed too many tears over Vince McMahon. I hope you watch some professional women's hockey, and tune in this week. We got a hockey show coming back. We'll have a fight show because we do have a UFC coming up this weekend, so we will have our picks and try to make a comeback on that end of the sporting arena. But until then,
make sure you check out the other shows on Peak One too.
Yeah, go check them out. All of them. Peak One on Peak One Sports Network on YouTube. Go subscribe if you're not subscribed. I stopped saying that, and then I remind myself that I need to tell that to people because people don't fucking subscribe. Go subscribe to the Peak One Sports Network on YouTube. But until then, enjoy your sports.